So, this is Tribes of Midgard. This is a game developed by Norsefell, who, from what I've seen, this is their one and only game at this moment in time. And this game is a action survival game based around Norse mythology. Now, this is one of the other games that is now on PS Plus as of the month of May. My last video I covered was Curse of the Dead Gods, and this is the second one. The other one is FIFA 22, and to be honest, I'm probably not going to cover that at all. I mean, you've either bought the game or you didn't. There's nothing really you can say about FIFA. But regardless, I was quite excited to test these two games out. I have heard of both of these, but I've never actually got around to playing them, and seeing them both free was actually quite exciting. As I said, I've already covered Curse of the Dead Gods, which I really enjoyed. Really good roguelite. And then I decided to play this as well. Now, out of the two, this was the one I was least excited to play, mainly because of it being classed as a survival game. Now, I'm not a huge survival game fan at all. In fact, I quite hate the genre, to be honest. Games like DayZ, Ark, Rust, I can't stand them. I think they're the gameplay makes them really not fun at all. I hate the stamina systems. I hate the food water systems and all things like that. I just think they're really boring, and I think it really just makes the games not fun at all. So when playing this, I thought, oh great, Norseology, real Norseology, so I'm really up for that. But survival game was like, we'll see how it goes. However, I can happily report that this is actually a game that I've been thoroughly addicted to the last couple of days. I've played this a lot with friends, and we have basically been playing this every single day that we can, because this game is thoroughly addictive. It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed my time playing this. Total, I've put in roughly around about over 10 plus hours in this game. So how to determine whether or not this will be your first impressions, I'm not too sure. Because basically, the game has two modes. It has Saga mode and Survival mode. Now, Survival mode is essentially unlimited days. You survive for as many days as you want. Hell, there's even an achievement to survive for over 100 days. Well, Saga mode feels more like its main mode. It's a condensed version of survival mode and more of a speed run, where instead of having unlimited days, you actually only survive for about 16 days, in which your goal is to try and kill the bosses of the world. Now, as of Season 2, there are two bosses in the game. There's Fenrir and Jormungandr. And on the right, over here, you can probably see that it says New Survival, New Saga, coming in August. Some fire. I don't know if that might be Suter or what. But yeah, the Saga mode seems to be more of its main mode, and this is the one that me and my friends have mainly been playing. And for the sake of the video, this is going to be the game I'm going to be covering. I'm not going to go for the entirety of Saga mode, but more so just showing you like the basics and all things like that. Now, the game is, as I said, you can play it on your own, because there's a solo play here. You can play it with friends, which I've been doing, or you can play it online to up to 10 players, which personally I do not recommend. Tribes of Midgard is a lot of fun if you can play it with friends, and it's not too bad solo, to be honest with you. I've played a few games solo and I've quite enjoyed myself. Not as much as with friends, but still enjoy myself. But with the 10-player mode, it is chaos. It's pure mess. People just kind of do their own thing, don't really work together as a team. It means that resources get heavily divided. There's also the case of fighting Jotuns, which are these giant mini bosses that pop up in the map. Once the first one is killed, it allows you to open up the Bifrost, which is a system to leave the game with rewards. And what often happens is that a Jotun pops up, it gets killed, people get their rewards, and then they leave. So oftentimes, even though you've started with 10 players, you're probably going to get about 3 or 4 after the first Jotun's killed. And sometimes players just keep dying repeatedly over and over, and then they just leave. So in regards to this, I would say if you are planning on playing this game, I would really recommend either getting some friends involved or playing this by yourself. I really do not recommend the multiplayer. It is a complete mess. But besides that, as you can see, I'm currently level 36 in total. This is how much I've been currently playing this. We'll just have a quick look over through the menu before we jump into the game in of itself. So we've got like a little battle pass system here. Now everything you earn is either cosmetic or it's something that will benefit you gameplay wise. This is a PvE only game, so there's nothing, broken. There's no pay to win or anything like that. There are just items here that will just benefit you for the PvE side of things. You can get, as I said, like more items. You can get these golden horns, which are currencies that either you can buy items that will benefit you through your runs, and they're permanent items, or when you actually play the game, you can get like these really high tier items, but you have to spend gold horns on them. There's also the premium currency, the platinum coins, which we'll get to in a bit. And then you can get other stuff, so like runes, which are buffs that you can get randomly throughout the world. You've got profile pictures you can have that will only pop up on the minimap to show where you are. So here, this is a weapon upgrade. So weapons will have like certain tiers, and for example, the Serpent Gnasher, you can only get tier 1 and 2, but once you hit level 22 on the Battle Pass, you then can get level 3. And it goes up for quite a fair bit. It goes up to about level 50. In terms of progression, it's not been too bad. I feel that my friends have been pretty effective when it comes down to actually playing Saga mode. We did struggle for the first few runs, but eventually we managed to get the hang of it, and we have been killing both bosses within one run, and we're often averaging about 15 gold horns a run, and about 50,000 XP, I think, per run. It is quite lengthy. It does take us roughly around about, I'd say about 3-4 hours. But overall, we've been progressing this pretty well. I haven't played like a huge amount of games despite the levels and everything. I've probably played roughly around about 10-15 games. And we got to level 36. I think it's very easy to get to the end of this battle pass. I don't think the game does its best to try and restrict you or anything. There's nothing really too bad about this. And as I said, there's nothing like egregious or anything like that for this battle pass. It's perfectly fine and suitable. There's no time limit on exactly when this battle pass ends, because this is the Season 2 Battle Pass. I assume, again, sometime in August that's going to change for when this Fire mode comes out, but we'll just have to wait and see. In terms of the progress here, you can have daily and weekly challenges for you to challenge yourself if you so desire. You'll hold 2,500 souls or more in the world. Defeat Bernalfa type enemies. I have no idea what they are. I've played this a fair amount of times, and I have no idea what this challenge is. You can even go to the challenges here. These are like awards you get as you play the game. So this is to unlock classes, which I'll go through in a bit. Oops. Achievement challenges are things that get rewarded for as you play the game just as normal. Reach the last season level and you get this cool sword. Spend 1 million souls in Midgard and then you get this hammer. It would be nice to actually see progress. Like for example, this spend 1 million souls in Midgard. It would have been nice to actually see like a progress bar to show how much I've actually spent. But yeah, other than that, you're not really going to know until you've actually earned it. Craft a legendary item and reach day 100. Oh, there's the achievement there. Reach day 100 in survival mode. And the last achievement, Saga challenges. So defeat Fenrir a certain amount of times, defeat Jormungandr a certain amount of times, and you get all those little cool rewards as well. We've only beat him a handful of times so far. I think with Fenrir we beat 3 times. We've done getting a certain amount of days. We haven't accomplished the less than 8 days yet. And we've defeated Jormungandr I think about twice. I believe we've defeated Fenrir more than we defeated Jormungandr. So then you go over here, you go to classes. So you got a whole array of classes here. You got a total of 8 classes. Now, how it works is that whenever you start up a game, which I'll show you once we go in, once you hit level 1, you actually get to choose a class. But once you've chosen it, that's it. The class is then being picked. So you've got Ranger, Warrior, Guardian, Seer, Hunter, Berserker, Sentinel, and Warden. Now, they do range in terms of effectiveness. Basically, you're going to either be picking Warrior, Seer, or Warden. From the looks of it, these classes are just so strong. Warrior is just an incredible DPS character. Seer has resistances to the elements, so like heat and cold, which just makes him really overpowered. Warden makes it that all durability is unlimited, so you can use your weapon for however long you want. You don't have to repair it or anything like that, and that's pretty crazy, and also has a pretty good recall system. Guardian's okay. He's quite a tanky class. His whole thing is taunting and then taking a lot of damage and then freezing enemies through his damage, but he's not amazing. Sentinel feels like a worse version of Guardian. It's kind of a pointless role. Ranger is okay, but bows are not very effective in this game, at least how I feel anyway. I feel that the melee weapons are much better. So Ranger I feel is quite worthless, and then Hunter I think is even more worthless, where Hunter is a less DPS version of the Ranger, and the Hunter is more to just scout the areas, but if you're playing with friends effectively, really Hunter is worthless. There's been a few games I've tried out Hunter and tried to really utilize her abilities, but it just feels like I get the same progress whether I play Hunter or I don't, so I've just kind of given up on this class. Berserker I haven't even unlocked yet, so I can't really comment on Berserker. But overall, yeah, as I said, I feel that there's a real imbalance with the classes. Again, I think these, the Warrior, Seer, and Warden are just really broken, and there's just no reason to pick the other classes. So it would be nice to see some more balances with some of these classes. I don't think these have even been changed for a while as well. I was watching a few old videos regarding classes, and I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. I'll just quickly show you the skill tree here, and this is just like, as you level up, you get to choose certain skills. Now, you can only get to level 10 as your max level, so there's only a handful of skill points you can use, and as you can see, there's way more than 10 skills here for you to pick, so you got to be very careful in what you pick here, and once you've picked it, there's no resetting or respecking at all, so once it's picked, it's picked. So it's more designed for you to understand your class and to really gun for the items that you want, for the power-ups that you want, and all things like that. It's fine when you're used to the class, but it's a bit annoying when you're trying to learn a class, where it's really, really annoying to try and figure out how your class works, but then it's like, alright, I'll go into this skill, then you find out the skill's worthless, but that's it, then you're stuck with the skill for the rest of that game then, until the game restarts. It would be nice to have some form of respec system. It's quite annoying that it punishes you for it, and it is quite easy to accidentally pick a skill as well, and then that's it. Once the skill's picked, it's picked. Because especially since you're capped as well, you can only have a handful of skills. It's just quite annoying for something like that, so it would be nice to have the ability to respec if so possible. But yeah, that's basically the classes there. Recipes, these are just weapons that you can craft. As I said, they've got like certain tiers, which we can go more into when we actually get into Saga mode. Some of these are locked off due to challenges, which is a little bit annoying because some of these are really strong. It would be nice to unlock them, but you've got to do certain challenges to unlock them. And yeah, and then there's all them. You've got like shields, armor, you've got the tools, so you've got axes and pickaxes, you've got consumables, so health potions and elixirs for resistant elements and speed potions and all that jazz. And then you've got construction, so these are just like fences, ramps and all things like that. And the journal is just like a little thing here. If you want to have a look through the game and all that and learn about it, sure, go ahead, but I'm not too fussed on things like that. So that's the progress for you to be able to see there. In terms of customization, skin tones, you can change all these forms like this. I'm just going to go for that one. Yeah, the customization isn't too extensive. You're not really going to make like your ideal Viking, basically. You're going to get a lot of copy-paste stuff. You're going to get a lot of people having similar style of Vikings to you. As I said, these are the hair options. Hair dyes, which you can unlock. You got all these little funky hair dyes, or you can have just normal hair dyes if you so desire. Emotes, which I rarely ever use, so is the voice lines, and then there's the portraits. As I said, the character customization is very lacking. It's very bare bones and basic. It's a little disappointing there. Accessories, starter kits are things that you spawn the game with. You can only pick one. I normally pick Villager's starter kit, which gives me a sword, a shield, and armor right from the get-go, which I think is just really strong. Other things will just give you resources and runes and all things like that, but really I just feel that Villager's starter kit is just the most powerful. Like, just starting off with all that gear, which costs you at the beginning. Like, if you don't have this, you're going to have to craft it yourself, and it skips the crafting process, essentially, and I just feel it's such a good head start. I really have found no need to really pick any of the other starter kits, to be honest with you. You can have little pets here. It's a bit weird to have a mechanical robotic pet for a Viking game, but whatever, I guess. And then loot chest, which is just the chest you'll have in the middle of your town for cosmetic. Cosmetic weapons here, so these are like if you want your weapon to look the same regardless of what weapon you end up getting. So there's the hammer, the axe, and the bow. As it just means that whatever bow I get, because there's a whole different types of bows, it'll always look like this. Same with the hammer and same with the axe, and it's the same for protection. So the shield. My guy currently looks like a pirate, even though he's meant to be a Viking. There's a lot of weird stuff that you can end up getting in this game. And that's about it for that. We head over to the shop here. So every 3 days, I think it is, that this shop resets. one little annoying thing is, so as you can see, they've got bundles in regards to skins. Now, there's actually no way of just selecting these skins outright. You can only get them as RNG through this featured section. I've tried to look, and I may be wrong, but I cannot find these skins anywhere. So that's really annoying to deal with. If there's a skin that you really want, and say you're saving up for silver, which is the premium currency, and then that skin disappears, then it's like, well, now I have to wait, you know? It's a bit annoying. One thing I do like, though, is the fact that if, say, you can't afford the full skin, but there's certain things that you like, you don't have to pay for the full skin. You can actually just buy individual items. So, for example, if I only like the chest plate for the health thing, well, I can just buy the chest plate and just leave it at that. I really like this. I like that freedom of choice regarding cosmetics, and I like the fact that I'm not forced to buy an entire gear if I'm not happy with it. It does look pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, I much like the idea that I can just buy individual items if I so desire. Like if I just want the helmet, I can spend 5 gold horns instead of 92, which is great. One thing to note, so as I said, you've got the gold horns there, but obviously you've got silver, which is the premium currency. Now, I am not a fan of developer-controlled in-game currency. Never have, never will, because I feel it's always a good way of screwing over the consumer. An example of this, if you head over to the shop, which will take me to the PlayStation Store. As you got some like bundles here, but regarding the platinum, basically 500 is 5 quid, so it's a 1-for-1 system regarding the platinum coins, which is okay, right, fair enough. But if you can see here, for example, the Fallen Valkyrie bundle is 800 silver. Now, if I say I had 0 silver, right, this thing is going to cost me £8 is what this skin is, right? So if I had 0 silver right now, I would be spending on this, which is £9, which means I'm spending £9 more than what the... Sorry, I'm spending £1 more than what would have been required, which would be £8. Now, personally, I think that's expensive anyway, because basically the game is even saying that this is worth £19 apparently in total. And I don't think any cosmetic is worth above £5. Personally, I feel all cosmetic items at best cost 5 quid. I don't see any reason why a cosmetic item should be more than £5. But like, for example, that Sun Wukong is going to cost you £16 just to buy a Sun Wukong skin. But it's like, alright, but it's not that much better than this skin. So why is this so expensive? Doesn't make any sense to me. Again, I'm just never a fan of it. It feels like it's always a good way to screw over the consumer, especially when they dictate how the currency works. And they always do it that the currency is never the right amount to what you're paying for. You can never just directly pay for it. You always have to have that excess silver that you'll end up getting because you're just buying a bundle the bundle of silver that you're just like, I just want to purchase this one specific skin. I don't want 2,000 silver. I want 1,900, you know? It's just a complete mess. I hate the silver system, so I'm just already a negative for that in that regard. I just let me pay for it directly. In terms of essentials, you got like some more hair dyes here, which you can't see because I'm wearing hat. Or I guess you can see it with the beard. You've got portraits, and that's about it. No idea why this is the essential. I don't consider any of this essential. I just find this really bizarre. You probably see that the cape's actually clipping through the boots. Yeah. I've already just noticed that now. Yeah, I don't know why that's essentials at all. Gameplay-wise, these are actually the more important ones. These are actually the essential ones, as these are actually things that will benefit you in the game. So like the Ember's Bow 3, Serpent Tongue 3, and the Raider Axe 3. These are weapon recipes that you will not get unless you purchase them with Golden Horns. They've been fairly easy to get, to be fair. I said within like 1 or 2 games I was able to unlock these 3, so it's not too terrible. Protections, I assume these are also stat-based. I don't think these are only cosmetic, but I'm not 100% sure there. As you can see, I haven't purchased any of them yet because they're quite expensive, so I've left them for the time being. And then accessories, which are also pretty important because you've got the runes, which, as I said, they're ways to power up your character throughout the game. Downside is with them is that you unlock them, they are random drops, and there are some terrible ones that are in-game regardless. So it just means that you've got more options. So, like, Rolling Thunder is really good. Evading is 50% chance trigger. Bolt of Lightning, striking nearby enemies, really good, as you're going to be invading quite a fair amount in this game. So, yeah, this is a pretty good one, as well as Might of Mjolnir, which combo attacks with 20% chance to generate arcs of lightning, is also fantastic. So I've been trying to unlock these because these are pretty essential to have. to help me further in my game. And then you've got more starter kits, but I haven't really bothered because, again, I'm just using the villager kit always, and there's nothing really here that I see that's really desirable to me. And then you've got tools. You can have a golden pickaxe and a golden axe if you so desire as well. So that's it really in regards to the shop. And then if you want to just have a quick look at settings, there's just a lot of customizable options here, which is always good. Oops. You've got audio options, and you also just got controls. Unfortunately, you cannot rebind them. So before we jump into Saga mode, so that's what I feel is the more of the important mode. I just want to show you one little cool thing regarding survival. So if you wanted to set up a survival world, I've already got one here that I've been playing with friends. So if you wanted to join a world, it's a server-based server search. Unfortunately, it's not very popular. It's very rare for me to find a server that has more than 2 players. I mean, there's one there, but it's locked, which means you've got to have a password for it. Yeah, the servers are pretty dead. You're going to be lucky to find people playing survival, really. Saga is where you're most likely going to get full 10-player lobbies. However, if you wanted to create your own world, you've got a lot of options. So you can make it public or private. If you want to make it private, you enter your own password, which is pretty good. And then you've got all these customization options here in terms of like map size and the decay of the tree, which is your main health, resource difficulty, basically upgrading the difficulty of the game. And as you can see on the right side, it actually increases the XP that you'll gain. So the harder you make your game, the more reward you're going to get out of it. I absolutely love this feature. I think that's brilliant in terms of rewarding you for trying as hard, making the game as hard as possible and giving you a lot of rewards for it in terms of XP. So if you are somebody that wants to play the solo, really wants to challenge yourself and really wants to get some like good XP out of it, then you're more than welcome to just go into survival and just make the game as hard as hell. And as I said, it's fully customizable. So if it's like you want everything hard, but you feel that the health things are a bit too tanky, well, you could just make them easy. So it lowers the XP bonus, but you've changed that up, and Jotun difficulty as well if you also want to make that easy, so on and so forth. It's brilliant. I love this. It's great customization, and I think that's fantastic. Okay, so we'll just jump into a solo Saga mode now and jump into that. There's my world name. So this is just going to generate a world. Now, worlds are randomly generated, so the map layouts are always going to be fairly different. But you're always going to spawn here, and you're always going to spawn near your village, which is your main hub. As you can see, the top right, it says day 1, and this does have a day-night cycle. We're currently in the day, and that clock will keep rotating clockwise until it hits that black area, which is what is considered night. The orange area is just considered like the evening. It's more of like a warning to say, hey, look, maybe you want to go back to base because you're going to have enemies invading you in the night. Just killed some wolves there, and you just gather resources, simple as that. Just press X. So I got some resources, and I've also got some souls, which is underneath the tree's health bar. Souls are extremely important in this game. They're essentially currency. It's how you repair weapons and gear. It's how you buy items to upgrade gear. Souls are super important, and you are going to be struggling without it. As you can see, I can't currently mine anything because at the beginning of the game, it's more just quickly gathering some resources, which either be twigs or stones, because you need to get axe and pickaxe. There's some twigs. I'm going to see if we can find any stones. I don't believe I picked up any. I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. Now, there is a little cheat you can actually do in this game. Now, because I've got a weapon, as you can see, it's fully activated a weapon skill, which is your triangle. So if I just... I don't want to do that. Oh, I found some enemies. I'm going to do triangle here. As you can see, I've actually chopped down the tree. Now, I'm not meant to do that yet because I haven't got the items. Just sword. But I can actually kind of cheese the system and get some resources from this if I'm struggling. Like here, I can just chop all these down. Which is another reason why the villager kit is so strong in my eyes. So we got more branches. I don't think we picked up any... Yeah, we picked up some flint. Okay, we're going to head into the town then. As you can probably see, the combat here is very simplistic. It's either mash square or you can hold square, which is nice, for a game which only really has one form of attack mainly. It's nice to have the ability to just hold it instead of just like mashing it away when you don't need to. As I said, you've got the weapon skill, which is the triangle ability, which is different compared to which weapon you have, and as the higher the rarity the weapons go, the more weapon skills you have. So here's your hub wheel. This is basically where you're going to spending quite a fair amount of time, especially in the night. You've got the Tinkerer here, which is designed for your pickaxe and your axe. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one. Yeah, I've got enough for both. Awesome. You can upgrade all these NPCs in the area with souls, and you'll be able to unlock more things. So, for example, here I can get a stone pickaxe and lumber axe when I've done it to level 2. Same with getting construction items, arrows, and also ingredients, which is very important. This character here is very important to get to level 3. Over here, you got the Trapper, who is a person that gives you all your potions. Health potions are very important when you're traveling the world, because there's your HP doesn't regenerate, so you're going to need those potions to build up your health. You've got your armor over here, which gives you shield, your helmets, basically you have all armors, and as you can see again, you need to level them up in order to get the better items, and the blacksmith in regards to weapons. And as you can see, there are multiple different weapons you can go for: swords, axes, hammers, bows, and each weapon will have their own stats. So it's a very simple, this item has higher damage, but there's also the case of elements. So you got void, fire, lightning, ice, and I think that's it. Yep, that's it. And each weapon will be utilized in a certain element. Now, what I've ended up finding is that the axe is basically one of the strongest weapons in the game, purely because the lightning axe is extremely strong. Now, there are a bunch of enemies in this game that are weak to certain elements. However, majority of the enemies in this game are weak to lightning, which means that a lightning axe is really important to get to the beginning of the game, because you're going to do a lot of damage real fast. And I think it's a bit of a mistake to really do that. I don't really understand why they made it that a certain enemy is, especially some of the more important enemies, like the enemies that are going to invade your base in the night are always going to be the same enemies, which means that they're just always going to be weak to lightning, so there's no reason to really change up the element. The only time you really want to change the element is when you're dealing with the Jotuns, which I believe it's the 3rd day actually spawns up. I'm not too sure. So, general rule is normally, throughout the day, you normally like to just go around and try and gather resources. What's really cool is that everything in this game, everything you do, will give you souls. When you gather resources, when you kill enemies, all that stuff, you're getting souls, and you're always leveling up as well. So there's always a reason to do something. You know, there's no reason to skip resources, and no reason to miss things, because you're going to get something out of it, which I think is really cool. So I've just leveled up there, and I can head over to the Blessings, and then I get my options of class. Now, I could be really cheeky, and I just pick Warden and just have a really easy time, but I think I'm going to choose Warrior, because he's just good with DPS. Oops, I'm going to hit. And I can more show you more of the systems better. The archers tend to be quite annoying, because they tend to do that, where they tend to, like, hit you, and then they just run off, and sometimes they can be a little bit annoying to catch. But what is funny is, as you can probably see here, there's, like, elevated land. So you can't climb up unless you've got a construction, but you can roll down. We're actually going to roll down here, because it's actually quite important, because there's a vendor over there, and it's also a fast travel. So you can roll down. You're always going to take damage no matter what. No matter how high the ledge is, you're always taking damage from rolling down. What's funny about this is that the enemy AI tends to not really understand the elevation. So oftentimes the enemy will be at the edge, and then they'll try to roll away. And the problem is they'll roll, and they'll take a huge amount of damage by rolling off the edge, which will leave them to just be immediately killed. I'm actually going to die here. This is actually a big mistake, because this is a really high area. I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive this. Uh-oh. Well, that's good, because I can show you this. So if I'm in a spot bother like this, I can press R3, and then I can teleport. Essentially, this is like a Hearthstone system, or like a, you know, a recall system from like MOBAs, so like League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm and Dota and that. And it has a pretty hefty cooldown, so that was more so because I made a mistake and I went to a high level area when I shouldn't have. Because next to the minimap, you've got your power level. So right now mine's 104, so that's my total gear level. I'm going to close that. So if you're in an area that's higher than that, it is often best to heed it and actually run away, because enemies will hurt you, especially in the beach area. Now the Saga mode tends to have like quite a relatively large map, and I'm going to see over here. So it's kind of like Civ in terms of the Fog of War map. You're not going to be able to reveal the map until you start exploring and start discovering things. Which I like. I like that aspect of the journey. I like the aspect of feeling like I'm actually going out and exploring. It's obviously a lot better when you've got multiple players playing the game, because it means the map gets covered a lot quicker, but, you know, not much you can do when you're playing solo. Gonna mine more of these so we can start building stuff a little later on, and also get some more souls. Now, I'm actually not going to come back for the night, because generally the first and second night, the enemies are relatively weak. Meaning that I can go off and explore and do all sorts without really worrying about the health of the tree. Because the tree that's in the middle of the hub world, that's your essential health bar. So you can die like any number of times. And the only downside to dying is that you will lose all your souls and some of your items. I think it's like 25% of your items remain or something like that. But that tree's health, that's coming on 5,894, if that goes down to 0, it's game over. So you really want to make sure that that tree is the best health as possible. Kill some deers over here. And carry on chopping some trees down and exploring. Unfortunately, my axe has actually run out of durability, so I'm actually going to need to go back and repair that at some point. One of the issues with one of the lower tier items is that, yeah, they lose durability super fast, so you're going to want to be upgrading them as soon as possible, unless you're playing the Warden, in which you'll never have to worry about such a thing. What I like about the rarity of the tools is, as well as obviously durability being a factor, is unlike in something like Minecraft, where the durability, or where the tiers of items determines, you know, what particularly you can mine and how fast the mine is and all things like that. The tools themselves will always mine at the same pace. So you probably saw that I was able to chop down trees and gather resources in a relatively quick manner with not much issue. And it's the same speed for every rarity of the tools. So back here. The only difference is that you get more resources. So it's always more beneficial to upgrade your tools whenever possible, so that way then you're getting better resources, as well as the fact that your durability is not constantly dying, which means you have to constantly keep going back to repair your items. One other thing about the combat there, as you probably saw with the hog, is that for the most part you can block every attack in this game except when the eyes flash red. It means that the enemy is doing like a super attack, which is essentially this, because some enemies in the game can do that. You just basically have to dodge out of it. It's a non-blockable attack. So we're going to go back in here, and we're going to see if we can start upgrading some people. So we want to start upgrading our sword as soon as possible. So I definitely want to upgrade the blacksmith. So I can just press triangle to donate to max, which is a nice little feature there. I can go over to the board if I so desire, and you can do little quests. And these will actually give you items. So this will give me a bow. This is going to give me a serpent tongue. This is going to give me ember, bow. These are completely random and not determined by your character, which is obviously a little bit annoying, because all of these are bows, and I'm not really going to be using a bow, so most of these quests are worthless to me in terms of rewards. The most I would want to do is probably a suitable protection to get that serpent tongue sword, just in case we end up with a lightning Jotun. And I got to donate villager armor pieces, which I'm currently wearing, so I'll put that on for now, but I'm definitely going to need to take that off at some point. And there's the saga quest. So these are like the seasonal events. So what's good is that once the season's over, the event is not just ended. So even though Fenrir is season 1, you can still go off and kill Fenrir, as Jormungandr is currently the latest one, season 2. So I assume when season 3 comes out, you're going to still be able to kill these bosses if you so desire, so you don't miss out on anything like that, especially since for me I started on season 2 because that's when the PS Plus version came out. So there's a few things here. You can repair items on the repair bench, which requires souls. I won't do that yet because I might be able to replace it. And you've got the war chest where you can transfer all your items. Now that's interesting. I actually haven't retested that on solo. Because one thing I was going to complain about this is when you're playing with friends, if I just transfer, normally, oops, didn't mean to pet that. What normally it works is you press L3, and then it kind of buffers. It's like it's loading into the server to let it know that it's actually transferred to the chest, and then you press it again, and then it does that. It's normally that slow. It's awful. Why on earth there's no transfer all button on the ingredients, I have absolutely zero clue. It's terrible on co-op to... Because you basically have to either spam L3 or press L3 once, wait like 2 seconds, and press L3 again. And when you have like a huge load of items like these, it can take you ages to actually get all those items transferred. Right, so what did I want to do? I wanted to upgrade a weapon, potentially. I normally like to go swords first to upgrade because they tend to have the highest DPS, and then eventually get into axe. Because I can't really do anything with the lightning axe or anything until I upgrade the blacksmith anyways. So what can we do? The villager sword, 67, so I want to go villager sword 1, villager sword 2. Even though this is better, I don't have any thorns, there's no point going into that. So now I've upgraded to this sword. Now this is a good way of like escaping the repair section, because if you can replace it with a better item, then you don't need to repair the items at all, which is a good way of keeping souls. Would I be able to craft these? I would, so I want to upgrade you. Saves me the souls on repairing them, which is ideal. Good enough to upgrade. I'm going to upgrade you for 250. Now, there's a bunch of things you can also do with souls before you leave. As I said, it's normally recommended to leave with 0 souls because you don't want to lose them randomly. So either you can go over to, like, say, one of these walls and you can upgrade them, but you still need, like, materials. You can go up to here and build archery towers if you want better defense. Or, because I can't do anything with resources, you can just put them in the tree and I'll heal it. So it's a good way of making sure that the health of the tree doesn't get too low and you end up just randomly dying. Now I'm going to go off and explore some more. Oh, so the quest is right there. But I don't want to donate the armor yet because, well, I don't have the resources. One other thing over here. Oh, a Jotun has entered Midgard. Fantastic. We're going to see if we can go and find that. So these are a quarry. This is a lumber mill and this is a farm. These are passive income resources that will be given to you over time. These are super crucial to try and get. If you can build these as soon as possible, you're going to be in for a good time when it comes down to resources. Especially when you're playing co-op, resources can get very sparse quite quick, and it makes it very difficult to start, you know, crafting things and things like that, especially if players are hoarding items and not putting them in the chest, which is kind of what you need to do to really progress proper, is to put things in chests to make sure that other players have access to things you don't need. Which I said is one of the problems of that 10-player mode, where people tend to hog their items and thus makes it very difficult for you to progress. Alright, so that then it's probably going to have to go this way then. So a Jotun, as I said, is like a very powerful mini-boss and is very dangerous to leave alone. I actually did... If I do make a confession, I actually made a video yesterday regarding this game, and I was covering it, and I did it on day 3, and I completely forgot about the Jotun. Oh, these animals are absolutely annoying. Come here. Come on. There we go. I actually left it on day 3, and that meant that the Jotun came to the village and just completely wrecked my village, because if the Jotun is there, it's impossible to kill at that point. It's basically game over. So you want to make sure it doesn't get to the village as best as you possibly can. I think this way. A nice little quality of life thing here is that if you actually follow the path, you actually get a speed boost, which really encourages the player to, you know, not trek too far from the beaten path. I mean, obviously, if you're going to get like nice resources and stuff, you might as well, but for the most part, paths are pretty good. They'll give you to like good places and stuff like that. As I said, we're not going to bother with them for the time being because we don't need to. Ooh, we got a relic. What's this one? Viking Hoarder. Retain 25% of your material quantities when you die. Oh, right. I was wrong. So you do lose all your materials. It's the rune that makes it happen. Okay. Well, there you go. Point proven. Let's see. Find some more stuff. These things are like bonuses you can get. So this is just to boost your health. The blue one is to boost your mana, which is how you get the weapon skill at the bottom. And there's a yellow one that gives you a speed boost. We're going to go into the little camp to show you these little encampments that you can fight in on your way about. Which will have, no surprise, a whole horde of enemies in them that you're going to need to get through. They are filled with these bombs, these things here, you want to watch out for them. I have like some annoyances with these bombs, especially online, where often I will hit the bomb and I'll roll away, but it feels like either the character rubber bands and goes back to the bomb, or the bomb itself just kind of like bounces back randomly and goes back to you. I don't know what it is, but the bombs are super inconsistent when it comes down to the co-op, and they're really annoying to deal with. Thankfully on solo they're not so bad. Connection-wise, there's been issues with connections, especially with my friends. We've had problems where the game often, like, kind of freezes up a bit. So, like, I will press square to hit like this, but the character won't initially do it. And it's not until, like, a few seconds afterwards that the character will actually start swinging, and it makes it really difficult, especially when you need to react to combat by holding a shield when the enemy's attacking. It's really difficult to react to the attacks and all things like that. So I don't know if this might be like a little problem with the netcode or something like that. Like I said, solo play, pretty smooth. And it is, what's nice about solo play as well is that it is perfectly feasible to do. There are obviously ideal strategies to do, and if you can run them, then you're basically smooth sailing. But yeah, like solo, you don't get punished at all for it, which is obviously a lot of problems with co-op games, where they find it hard to balance it, where they really would prefer it that you actually play co-op over solo, so they make it so that the game on solo is a lot more difficult, and it just makes the game more frustrating in that regard rather than actually enjoyable. We've got a few skill points here, so I'm just going to upgrade to this to give me more mana, because this opens up all the other areas, and I'm going to go for this because this gives me plus 50% combo, 50% damage at the end of the combo, because it's 1, 2, 3, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, it's 3. Yeah, that effect underneath my feet shows that's the end of the combo. So there you go. Still haven't found that Jotun yet, so we still need to try and get him, and we need to make sure that on the third night. Oh shit. This is a very powerful enemy. I don't know if I want to face him yet. Oh, I might be able to. If I just spam hold down the square, I should be able to kill him. Easy. It's really annoying. Oh, I got triangle, sort these out. Nope. There you go. You're dead. And then grab that. Some more resources, grab that. Because that was a kind of a small mini boss enemy. Oh, that's a red attack. I got some good items for it being a small mini boss enemy, which is good. Low on health, but that's okay because I got health potions, so I can use that. Other items I've got this little trap here. I've got a mana and a big health potion. You only can carry a max of 4 at a time if the... Oh, kick me. If the mana potion ends up... Sorry, if the inventory space ends up getting full, you're going to have to drop something. You can't carry more than 4 items. Just going to pop that because we still need to find that Jotun. So, if we go over here now... So you're probably noticing that there's now a little bit of a change of scenery, and that's in regards to the fact that this is now an ice area. Which means that you're going to take cold damage unless you either have a cold resistant potion, or you've got cold resistant armor. So there's 2 particular areas that you're going to have this issue. It's either going to be a fire area, so you're going to take heat damage, unless you have a heat resistant potion or heat resistant armor, and then this area, the ice. However, there is a fast travel point here and a merchant. So let's activate this. As you can see on top of my portrait, I'm actually gaining cold there. You can see here. And then once that hits peak, that's when you're going to start taking damage. Now, the merchants are super important in this game, especially in this region, due to the fact that in order to make ice weapons or fire weapons, you have to get the resources in their particular area. Now, resources are really difficult to gather. It's very RNG reliant. And the most consistent way of getting those items is in regards to the merchant. But the problem is the merchant does cost a fair amount of souls. It's really difficult in the early game to start getting him, unless this Jotun's a fire Jotun, which would be fantastic, because if it's a fire Jotun, I've now got access to the ice merchant. But no, my luck, it's probably going to be the ice Jotun. And yeah, there's only 4 Jotuns in the game. There's the fire, ice, lightning, and void. And it works that fire beats ice, ice beats fire, void beats lightning, lightning beats void. It's how that works. And they progress in level as the game continues. So right now, this Jotun that we haven't found yet is going to be a level 1 Jotun. I'm going to see what's the stack. It's over there. And we're one of our tools, bro, so we might as well just teleport for the time being. It's a level 1 Jotun, so pretty weak, and they will progressively get worse. On Saga mode, the worst I think it got was a level 5 Jotun, and we really struggled to kill it. Like, I don't think we did at all. I think we had to bail, which was quite annoying. However, there is a little cheap strategy you can do in this game, where you damage the Jotun as much as you can before he hits the village, and just leave that Jotun. Because I think in total, the Jotun takes about 2 days to get to your village. So people often leave it at like quite a low amount of health, probably about 10% HP, and then they just wait for the Jotun to get to the base, and then they kill it. No point upgrading this because I can't deal with them, so I might as well fix the axe and the pickaxe. There is actually a bit of an exploit you can do with the Jotun, which is what we discovered before, where my friend was trying to get the achievement. It's like construct 100 constructs, and he built a bunch of fences, and he actually ended up blocking the pathing of the Jotun, meaning the Jotun was just permanently stuck. So we had like a level 2 Jotun for the entirety of the game. From day after we killed the first one, I think it was like day 5 or 6, the Jotun popped up the level 2 one. And then we just left him for the rest of the game. We never had to deal with him until the very end, where we decided to bail. We just killed him and then we left. Like, that's one thing. Yeah, you can completely exploit that. You can just build a whole bunch of fences, block the pathing of the Jotun, and that's it. You've got like no Jotuns then spawning if that's going to be a real problem for you. Let's see, what can we upgrade here? We can upgrade the blacksmith more. But I actually want to upgrade the Tinkerer more because she'll give me some more resources. So I'm going to upgrade you first. Because even though I can't get you, it means that I got access to the wooden boards, the cut stone, and the wrought iron, which are kind of the essentials when it comes down to building things. One thing that's nice is that even if it's in your chest, you can use everything. If you've got items in the chest and not on yourself, you can still build things with acquired items. They'll just take it direct from the chest. That's a really great thing. However, if it's building something outside of this hub area, you have to carry the item. I see no reason why they couldn't still do it, where if it's in the chest, you can just build it from the chest. Would be nice if you could just do that. It's just very tedious to just go back to the base, grab the items, take it all the way to the thing, build it, and go back and forth if you've got it wrong and all that type of stuff. I just feel it would just be easier to just keep it as it was for this area, but I don't know. Right. I want to upgrade you for the time being. Yeah, the Hussar Sword 2. What things can I upgrade? Could upgrade the blacksmith, but we can also try and see if we can get some more resources for the time being. So if I can try and build, say, the quarry is normally the most important. So we're actually going to defend this night because it's day 3 now. They're going to start getting a little bit tough. The good thing about upgrading your NPCs as well is that the NPCs will actually fight the, was it 12 boards, 9 stone, 6 iron. The NPCs will actually fight the enemies as they're invading. So if they get past the wall and they start coming here, the particular NPC will fight them. So normally the Tinkerer here will be the one to fight over here. Because she's level 3, she's going to be pretty strong against them also. So what was this? 12? I think this was 9? Oh, I can only craft 4 anyway. I don't have enough greaves. There's no point. So the more powerful they are, the easier they are at defending, which means it gives you more opportunities to leave. The only thing is, though, I don't really leave them at that point unless these towers are built, and also this is like level 2. I'm just going to start upgrading some of these people because it just makes more sense. Upgrade you to level 3, and I'll upgrade you to level 3. Now everyone's level 3, which is great. I got 500 souls. I haven't repaired. Have I repaired? I did repair, but we're going to leave for the time being. We're probably not going to die. So as you can see, the enemies currently invading. They will pop up on the map as these little purple dots. And these are the enemies right here. One cool thing, I don't have my weapon ability, but you can actually fire your weapon ability through the fence if you so desire, so you don't exactly have to fight them. There is a little bit of a cheap trick with this, though, which makes this really easy, is that if you have like 3 people at least, you can literally come over here and just spawn camp the enemies. And it just makes it that they rarely spawn as well. I don't know if it's because you're there, and because of the proximity, the spawn rates are naturally slowed down, but yeah, you can really cheese the spawns by doing that. Whereas obviously solo, it's a lot harder to do. Unfortunately, I can't use my weapon ability because they're not there. Oh, I know. I thought I had the spin ability still. Oops, I got a different ability. It's a different sword. There's also a few times as well where I've closed and opened this, and enemies tend to get stuck on top of the fence, meaning that they end up they're just permanently stuck there. They can't do anything. I'm going to quickly. There you go. This is a good strategy to do as well, if you want to kill them without opening the gate and having them risk going over to the tree. Alright, so that's that done. There's a red circle now on the time. It means that's a blood moon. It means that a mini boss is going to spawn of them, and it's always recommended you have basically everyone come back. Right, we're going to teleport over to the ice area because the Jotun might have gone past it by now. And we're going to see where exactly he is. So I'm going to fast travel over to the ice area. As you can see, yeah, because the skull icon is the indicator where the Jotun is, but it doesn't tell you exactly where it is. It's only when the Jotun... Oh, wow, you are a lot further ahead than I expected. I'm actually going to find you. Yeah, I'm going to use this as a speed boost. Once one player in your game finds the Jotun, they will pop up on the map. And what's a nice little cool thing as well is that if the person loses them or they teleport away, the last location of the Jotun still shows up. So you don't completely lose the Jotun if that ends up happening. So we really need to get going because he's getting quite close to the village, I believe. I'm going to use the pathway in order to speed up here. Zooming along. But yeah, in terms of replayability of the game, it is very samey. Okay, it's the lightning, so yeah, it would have been nice to have the void weapon. So yeah, this is the Jotun. This is the big one of the bosses. You're gonna fight the little mini bosses, and every Jotun has their own unique attack patterns. They're all the same. So once you've learned the boss, you're going to find an easier time with them. They are challenging at first, but yeah. Oh, there you go. Like these lightning orbs, they're really annoying at the beginning when you don't know what to do, but once you found that you can just hit them and they'll just all self-destruct, it makes it just so much easier and more convenient. Alright, kill that. The hardest one I found out of the 4... I all the way in time. Out of the 4 is definitely the Void Jotun. Tends to have a really powerful hand attack that's quite hard to register. The startup animation is very quick, and especially when it's chaotic and there's a lot of enemies for you to fight. It's very easy to miss, and it basically insta-kills. Kill that. There you go, just a little punch. Yeah, so the lightning Jotun, his main things is he'll throw like a totem that will do electric damage to you over a certain amount of time. Throw a bunch of electric balls that, if you don't dodge out of the way, they're going to massively electrocute you. And if not, he's just going to punch the ground. He's punching the ground now. There you go. And it's just basically as simple as that. Oh, something I didn't realize. My weapon actually broke. So I wasn't able to use it properly. Oops. I'm going to have to resort to my more weaker weapon that doesn't have the... I don't know what was going on there. I don't know why I wasn't doing too much damage. I might as well kill it now. It's close enough to the village. There we go. And once you kill it, you get a message pop up to say who's killed the Jotun. It's normally the person who does the last attack, which can be annoying if you're somebody that's, you know, dealt most of the damage to the Jotun, and then one guy just turns up and just does like one hit, and suddenly, oh yeah, they're the one that gets credit for defeating the Jotun, which is a little bit annoying. And also the fact as well, when you kill the Jotun, the drops like will drop once the Jotun's dead, but anybody can pick it up. So again, it could be the case that people do no work or none of the effort whatsoever, and they will still get rewarded for not even participating, which can be a little bit annoying. This has now opened up the Bifrost here, which is this thing, so it just means you can exit the game and get some rewards out of it. Always unlocks after you've killed the first Jotun, so I'm just going to have to go back and just repair. But yeah, so I've showed you like basically the majority of the game here. I think for the most part, we'll wait for the Blood Moon to come, fight the Blood Moon. I'll probably just end the video there. But yeah, because overall, in terms of like replayability, it gets very samey once you've worked out the strategy, because the strategy tends to be build these structures, get the lightning axe, and then try to get to the enemies. Like, you've got the quest on the top left, which is the Distant Shores. This is the quest to guide you on how to get to Jormungandr. It gets very samey, and it can get a little bit repetitive and a little bit boring. Once you've worked out the strategy, the game gets very easy, and you're just going to fly through it relatively quick. So I'm just going to... Honestly, it's actually so nice on solo to be able to just mash L3 and it just goes straight in. You don't know how annoying that system is to have it delayed so much. Let's have a look, because now you've upgraded. So in order to get the lightning, I know there's a merchant in this place called the Land of Pools that sells the lightning gear. See if I can maybe buy stuff off him. I doubt I'll be able to, because I think... No, that's not him over there. Don't think I'm going to be able to. This thing over here, these are world events. So this is just stag. Literally all this is literally just patting a stag and then he just disappears. And those world events will just give you a bunch of souls. They're really good to do to get extra souls and things like that. And they just random pop-ups. You got a stag that you can pat. There's a random guy that gets kidnapped. You've got to rescue. He's really funny. Well, he says, "Yatta." So he says it all the time. It's pretty hilarious. And then there's like the Crows of Ragnarok, which you have to catch. They're very weird events, but they're really good for getting extra souls. I'm not going to go because the Blood Moon's about to turn up, and I might as well just stay here for the time being. I've got a bunch of souls though, so it's going to be a bit of a waste to like not really do much. I want to see if I can get some stone or iron in order to cut it. So yeah, it really is going to depend on how you feel about the gameplay loop, because this is the most part what you'll be doing at the beginning. You're killing Jotun, gathering resources, building up the stuff, getting extra upgrades and all things like that. So it's up to you, like, how you really feel about it. Personally, it's like, I've been very addicted to this game, but that's because we kept failing a lot, and it was more of striving to do better. Right now, we do have that goal of trying to kill Fenrir within a certain amount of days, but I feel once that's been accomplished, I feel I am going to start getting bored of this game quite quick. But in terms of the actual gameplay itself, as I said, it's a survival game, but I see it more as survival game light. It doesn't have a lot of the trappings of annoying elements of survival games. Again, there's no food or water system. I don't have to keep managing things like that. There's no stamina system, except if you go in the water, in which you can potentially drown. There's fast travel systems, means you don't have to keep running around everywhere. Items are not like crazy in terms of their rarity being, oh well, you need like a silver axe in order to cut down this particular tree, or otherwise you can't do it, type of thing. it's very convenient. It leaves a lot of the convenience stuff. It's more akin to Minecraft than most other survival games, but you know, a little bit more focus on its action and its combat and fighting enemies and all things like that. And obviously, the theme of the Norse mythology is definitely something that helps it out. So I just want to quickly upgrade this. Increase the mana. I like this one because it gives me invincibility when I roll. Alright, so we got enemies to deal with now for the Blood Moon. As I said, this isn't anything like really challenging. It's only really if the gates go down that you're like, oh, kind of oh shit. But for the most part, it's fine. Like over there now you can see that icon, that's the mini boss. So I'm gonna... Who tends to disappear. It's really annoying. Oh, there he is. He's here. This mini boss you do have to be careful with because he can do quite a significant amount of damage to you if he so desires. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you're somebody like me, if you're somebody who's like, you don't mind the survival genre, but you really hate a lot of the stuff that comes with it, I think this is a good game to try and sink your teeth into. Especially, again, this is especially a great co-op game with friends. It's okay, solo, like, it's not bad. I'm perfectly happy with the solo experience. But yeah, definitely not multiplayer. The multiplayer is trash. Like I said, the combat itself, kind of simplistic. It's, you know, holding down square for the most part, pressing triangle every now and again. The only real challenge you're going to be getting in this game is either the higher level Jotuns or the actual boss themselves. Like Fenrir and Jormungandr are very challenging. They're really going to give you a run for your money in terms of dealing with them. Oh, and by the way, once the Blood Moon is ended, you actually get a free night, which is always fantastic. Nice little reward you get for dealing with that. But yeah, they're relatively challenging. They're both in the same vein. You end up in a little arena and you just have to like fight them and they'll have like specific moves you've got to dodge. Fenrir definitely seems more challenging than Jormungandr because Fenrir is a little bit more over the place and he summons these like really shitty minions that can really wreck you. While Jormungandr is just himself. He only has like one really devastating attack, which could be a little bit annoying because how he telegraphs that attack is essentially the same as one of his other attacks. He headbutts the ground, but he can end up doing like a super headbutt, which will almost insta-kill you. But the animation for the super headbutt, it's basically the same as the normal headbutt, meaning that, you know, you're expecting, oh, it's a normal headbutt, I'm just going to move a little bit over here where it normally doesn't reach. And all of a sudden, bam, it's reached further than it normally has, and it's insta-killed you. Really annoying. So yeah, I don't think there's really much more to really show about this game. I think that's most, obviously I said I won't be able to do like the bosses or anything like that. And you know, we've discovered a fair bit of the map. The fog of war has definitely lifted a bit, and the maps can be really huge as well. Especially when you play survival and you set it to large, these maps can get really big, which are great for exploration and gathering resources and all things like that. The only thing is that even though we have like the element system here on Saga mode, it's really not that important because, you know, sometimes, like, if I kill that Jotun, I know a lightning Jotun's not going to appear at all. So it's only going to be a void, a fire, or an ice. But sometimes you can just kill them outright with just normal weapons anyway. It's not really that big of a deal. And as I said, most enemies in this game are weak to lightning. So you're mainly going to be building a lightning weapon for the most part. And then every so often, if you've got the resources, you'll maybe get the other elements, but it's not, like, essential. It feels more in survival mode, the more element resistances you're going to buy, like especially when it comes down to the armor. You've also got element resistance for armor, but in Saga mode you only want to get ice because after about day 9, I believe, the weather changes and it actually gets colder, so you need to start getting some more ice resistance, and that can be kind of cool, especially the nighttime. Like for example, the beach area here is fine to go to in the day, but when it's night this actually freezes and it's really really difficult to go into because you're going to take a lot of cold damage. It's really cool with the fire area because the fire area normally you can't go because it's too hot, but if it's nighttime it gets cool and you don't actually have any fire resistance for it because you don't actually build up any heat. So you can actually go in the middle of the night. So the day-night cycle actually has quite a intuitive in-game design, which I really like. Because again, day and night cycles, they just tend to be like something that gets added in. It's just something, oh, this is part of survival, you know, and yeah, it could be the thing that, oh, well, we're just buffing the enemies and that's really about it, you know, a la Minecraft. But no, with this game, it feels like the day-night system is a lot more integrated and a lot more thought put into it. So overall, as I said, my thoughts on the game, I think the game is fun with friends. I really recommend to play this with friends if you can. Solo, again, it's fine, it's okay. I can see that you getting bored easier with solo. As I said, multiplayer, I think is a complete write-off. I think the 10-player multiplayer is an absolute mistake. I think it's too many players. I think it needs to be massively reduced, or there needs to be better systems in place to help make cooperating with those players a lot better. And I think there should be something to try and decentivize people from just leaving straight away. Because it means if you are somebody that wants to survive up to day 16, when you've suddenly gone from 10 players to 4 within, 3 days, it's very disheartening to play as. And, you kind of just give up. You're like, well, why am I playing this? I might as well just leave. So, yeah. Again, highly recommend friends. A lot of fun with friends, especially when you're trying to kill the bosses. The bosses are challenging and rewarding. Although, as I say, once you do figure out their patterns, they do get fairly simplistic. And once you do realize kind of the strategy of this game, it makes the game a whole lot easier. And you can end up just consistently winning in these days, which, again, can get pretty dull. So I can see this as being a game that you can play a handful of times, but eventually you will get bored and probably just turn up when the new season comes to kill the boss and so on and so forth. And as I said, the gameplay itself, very simplistic, like just holding down square for the most part, obviously not the most engaging thing in the world, and using the weapon ability every now and again. It's kind of fun when you've got different rarity weapons that will do different moves. But, like for example, there's the axe can heal yourself and also has a rage mode, so you can end up doing, faster DPS. You swing a lot faster, you do more damage, which is kind of cool. All the little things like that. So this sword allows me to just throw a gust of wind, while this sword is more of a... I can't do it because I don't have the mana, but it's like a tornado type of deal. And as I said, the Jotuns, they're fun. They're fun to deal with. They're engaging to deal with. And it's nice that they have that variety in regards to their elements. In terms of the enemies... I said for the most part, most of them will be to lightning, so they can be very easy. There are different enemies based on their locations. You probably noticed there were like those fish people in regards to the beach. There were different enemies in the ice area. There's different enemies in the fire area. Those are different as in they're weak to the opposite element. So the ice enemies are weak to fire and the fire enemies are weak to ice. But the problem is you've got to get the items from the said area. So if you want to get ice weapons for the fire area, you've got to get through the ice area to get those weapons. But you don't have the fire weapon, so it's really difficult to fight the enemies, and it's vice versa, where if you're in the fire area, it's very difficult to fight them because you don't have the ice weapon, because you're trying to get the fire items to kill the ice area. It gets a little bit complicated in regards to that. As it was also a bit disappointing with the element system as well. It's a bit weird that fire beats ice, but ice beats fire. Like, it would be nice if there was kind of a more rotational system, but it is what it is, I guess. Yes, overall, I do recommend this game. I do think it's a lot of fun. I think it avoids a lot of the trappings that survival games tend to have, and it makes it fun in that regard. However, I do feel the combat is a little bit lacking, and I also do feel that the game in itself will get tiresome over time and completely dependent on how you're playing it. As I said, I think the multiplayer is complete shit. I see no reason in playing it unless you just want a bit of a headache. Play the multiplayer by all means, I guess, but that's about it. Yeah, so check it out if you want. It's currently free on PlayStation Plus as of the month of May on the PS5, but you can also get it on PC as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.